Good morning, good afternoon, and good evening, and good night, depending where you are joining us from the world. And welcome to the first ever Crypto Millionaire Mindset live stream that I'm going to be running every single week. Now, I haven't done these in a really, really long time. I used to do a lot of these quite often back a couple of years ago, and I haven't really done many individual live streams. So be kind, but also please engage. This is live on YouTube only. So, as you guys know, this is only on YouTube. So I'm going to put this up here. If you have any comments, please put them through. Ask me any questions that you want. Now, what I want to cover today is look, as we all know, we're in a crypto bear market, right? So a lot of people out there are quite fearful. They don't know whether they should be investing, what they should be doing, and whatnot. And I want just to zoom out a little bit. And one thing that has always struck me, and one of the things that makes me so excited about the current times that we're living through, is something I read many, many years ago. Now, if you haven't read this book, I'd highly recommend you read this book. It's called Think and Grow Rich. I picked up the first copy of this book back in 2003. It's still the same copy that I have. As you can see, I've read it multiple times. I've got notes all over the book, and it's a book that I aim to read at least once a year. Now, I remember when I first ever read this book, I remember thinking to myself, what did these people back then? Hey, g'day, Matty, how you going? Yeah, it is a good. It is that book is gold. So I remember when I first read this book I always like to zoom out, trying to see the bigger picture. I'm a big picture person, and I remember thinking, the people mentioned in this book and the people interviewed and the stories in this book, they had opportunities that at the time when I read it were very hard to come across. And I remember looking at a couple of things. They were going through a revolution at that time. They were going through the Industrial Revolution, which meant there was a lot of opportunities, a lot of new things happening in their time that allowed those that were savvy enough to take advantage of those opportunities. They were able to make a tremendous amount of wealth for them, for their children, for generations to come. I also remember reading that, the world was in a Great Depression. People were scared. There was a famine, hunger, high unemployment. So the majority of the world was very fearful, while a select few saw the opportunities and were able to go after it without having too many people going after it, and therefore less competition in those areas, which gave them an advantage. And also, they were coming out of a global pandemic. So it was the Spanish flu, the 1918 Spanish flu, which killed millions and millions of people. The world was coming out of that pandemic, and then they're also going into a depression, plus a revolution happening, which meant that it was the ripe atmosphere for those that were willing to take that risk to go a little bit outside of the square, as you want to call it, outside the box. They were able to find a huge amount of fortunes. And when I read the book, I was like, man, I hope one day I get this opportunity. I get an opportunity in my life where I have an opportunity where I can see something that the majority of the world aren't seeing. I can go after the opportunity quite early on and be able to, create the life that I want for myself, for my family, for my children, and for their children, and hopefully for generations to come from my bloodline. And I'd always be looking for that opportunity, but I didn't have the education. I was going through my own journey and whatnot. And I realized, when we entered the pandemic and I lost everything. So for those of you who don't know my story, during the pandemic, I used to own a gym. The gym was struggling to stay above water. So we made a decision to shut it down, sell everything, and have a fresh start. Now, that gave me freedom from the debt that I was in. I lost everything. I lost my family home. I had to sell that, to sell my investments. But it gave me the opportunity to start with a fresh start, to have a fresh start. I had a little bit of money in, and I needed something new to start with. And this is where, I came across the crypto opportunity. And the reason why I'm saying this to you guys today is because if we look at the world we're living in right now, we're coming out of a pandemic. We're still in a pandemic technically, but we are coming out of the pandemic. We have global economic turmoil. Wherever you turn, wherever you look in the world, there's inflation, there's energy crisis, there's people are going into poverty line. The people living under the poverty line is increasing, as you guys would have seen in our live streams on Tuesdays and Fridays. We spoke about the UK and what's happening over there, the amount of inflation that's happening over there. There's more and more people in the UK going into slipping below the poverty line. So there's a lot of economic turmoil. There's a lot of fear out there. But at the same time, there's a revolution happening. There's a financial revolution that we are literally living through and witnessing right now. And it's not, you don't need to be a scientist. You don't need to be educated. You just need to look at what's happening in the world right now and see that the traditional financial system is failing. There's a lot of cracks happening in the financial system. There's a lot of things that are happening with the dollar, the sanctions happening in Russia and whatnot. And now Russia, even today, there was news that, Russia is now made a deal with China to be able to sell gas for rubles and yuan. So they're moving away from the dollar. So that traditional financial system is being shaken up right now. Now, because of that financial system being shaken up, there's a new financial system that's being built, that started being built from back in the early 2000s. Blockchain technology is not new. Blockchain technology started in the early 90s. Bitcoin was released in 2009 after the global financial crisis. So there's been this movement happening for a while now to build a new financial system. And what we've seen in the past 2 years is massive adoption coming in. And we see a long, long way before we get to mainstream adoption. But what we know is there's a lot of adoption happening right now. So this new financial system is coming out, and I'm not here to teach you guys about crypto or anything like that. We are going to talk about mindset, and I am going to get back to that. But what I'm trying to show you is there's a new financial system being built that's going to be challenging the current or the traditional financial system. And as more and more people see the cracks in the traditional financial system and the opportunities in this new decentralized, fairer system that's being built, there's going to be more people that are going to move towards that. And therefore, it's the same opportunity that these people had, which was coming out of the global pandemic. The world was in a global financial crisis. There was a revolution happening, and these people took advantage of it. If you read this book, many of the people that made it did it through industrialization. So 100 years or so later, we have very similar environment that we're in. We have a very similar environment, but now we have a financial revolution. So the question is, if you really want to make it and you've been looking for that once in a lifetime opportunity, it's here. It's right here for you. And this is, they say that history doesn't repeat itself, but it rhymes. And right now it's rhyming pretty hard. So this is what I want to start with, is just to give that big picture of where we are right now and what the opportunity in front of us is. Now, the question is going to be, there's going to be people out there that are going to make a ton of money and create a completely new lifestyle for themselves and for their families. And there's going to be people who are not going to profit. They're going to be people who are going to see it happening, is going to go past them, and they're going to wake up one day and go, what the hell just happened? Now, the question is, which side of the coin are you going to be on? You have a choice right now. And that's what I wanted to talk to you guys about right now. We all have a choice every single day. It doesn't matter where you are in life and how much money you're making. You have a choice every single day to do what you want to do with the resources that you have. And it's those resources that you have right now and what you do with them that's going to shape the life that you're living right now and the life that you're going to have in the future. And that's going to be the topic of what we're going to talk about today. So the number one thing I want to talk about is get yourself educated. If you want to have a millionaire mindset, if you want to have an abundant mindset, a wealth mindset, it has to start with education. And education isn't watching the news. Education is going out there, finding the right people to learn from, people like here at Breakout Solution and many other people. You don't even need to look at us. If you look on YouTube and just look up blockchain and crypto, you'll see so many people talking about it. Tom Bilou, for example, he's got impact theory. His YouTube channel used to be all about, and it still is. He brings in a whole bunch of different experts and whatnot. But right now, he's so focused on blockchain technology and cryptocurrencies because he sees the opportunity I'm talking about. So you need to educate yourself about the opportunity. Once you understand this opportunity and understand the reality of what's happening, you can then be able to, block out the FUD, block out the fear, the uncertainty, and the doubt that we see in mainstream media, block out the propaganda that's out there that is really bashing this industry, because you now understand it yourself. And this is one of the things that I did when I first started doing this. I was exactly like most of the people out there. I got involved in crypto in 2017, and I got scammed because I didn't spend the time to learn. Someone introduced me to a platform that I just deposit my money and they do everything for me, and I was supposed to be able to pull my money out and whatnot. And then they went under. Well, they didn't go under. They just closed their shops, closed their doors, and took the website down. And they just went missing, and we're never able to recover our money. If you've heard of them, they're called USI Tech. They were around in the last bull run. The previous bull run, 2017. A lot of people got caught up in it, and millions of dollars were taken out from people. So when this time around, when I started looking at the crypto opportunity, I was very, very scared. But I spent the time to learn about it. So information is your weapon. Your information, they say information is power, but information is only potential power. Information is only power if you act upon it. But you need that information to get started so you know what you can do and what is available to you out there. So that's the number one thing that I would recommend. I highly say for you to start changing your life and having that wealth and that abundant mindset. Start learning what the other 1% know, what the other people that are out there doing. And crypto right now, only 4% of the world's population are involved. It's still such an early stage opportunity that, in 5 or 10 years time, when, by 2025, 2026, when we have 1 billion users in crypto, right now we're about 320 million. When we have 1 billion users in crypto and becomes completely mainstream, people are going to go, what the hell happened over the past 3 years? Where did this come from? And we're telling you right now, it's coming. And we've given you so much knowledge and so much information on that. So I'm just checking my notes here, guys. So number one is information. Make sure you have the right information. Get the right education for people you know and trust. And number two, once you have the right information, you've got to stay focused on your goals. Know exactly what you want to achieve. Now, I know a lot of people out there saying, but we're seeing, there's inflation right now. People have it tight. People are doing it hard. I get it. We're all doing it hard. I've invested everything I can in crypto last year, and this bear market did come unexpectedly. Unexpectedly earlier than expected. So it caught a lot of people out, and I tell you, I was one of them. We got caught out earlier than we expected. But the difference is, one thing I've learned over my life is that no matter what your current income is, you can always choose the lifestyle that you live. When I was making multiple six-figure income per year, I was also struggling to pay my bills. I was because the month would come and there'd be no money. And I realized that no matter how much money I made, my life expanded to that money. And then when I lost everything and lost my income and the pandemic came and everything, I also realized I could quickly shrink my lifestyle to fit the income that I was living. I was still able to eat. I was still able to do things I needed to do. I probably got rid of a lot of luxuries I didn't probably need in my life, but I was able to shrink. So when I started rebuilding from that and started coming back and increasing my income, getting to a point where I'm more comfortable, I made sure that the one thing I didn't do, the one mistake I didn't do, was do the same thing I did before, was let my lifestyle expand to consume my complete income. So there's one thing you can take from today, is learn to live on 90% of your income. If you can learn to live on 90% of your income and take that 10% that you have in your mind, that you have in your mind that basically you never made it. You know, the first thing I do whenever I get paid, whenever my money comes in, I take 10% and I put that aside and I forget it exists. Because that 10% to me never existed, and I've got that 90%, and I need to learn to live on that 90%. That means I've got to learn to pay my bills, I've got to learn to put food on the table, I've got to pay, you know, everything that I need in life. I want to go on holidays. Everything I need has to come from that 90%. That extra 10% is gone, you know. And when I say it's gone, like in my head it's gone. What I do with that is I take that and then I invest it in solid long-term projects and long-term investments that I know over the next 4 or 5 years are going to give me a massive return. And even when my investments are giving me returns, I don't take it out. I don't go splash money on myself and go out and do whatever I want and have and live that. Right now, I'm the way I look at my life right now is I'm in that rebuilding phase. You know, I've lost quite a lot. I've got to rebuild, and I've got to rebuild to get back to where I was, plus more. So I'll never ever get to that point again. So when we make profit in those investments, we take those investments, we take that profit, and then we reinvest it in other long-term solid projects. Like this, not only am I constantly putting money into my investments, I'm also reusing my profits to grow my wealth. And this is what the wealthy do. They create assets, or they accumulate assets that pay them a dividend, and they use that dividend to accumulate more assets that give them more dividends. And if you can get that, if you can get that concept in your head and get to understand that no matter where you are right now, if you can put $10 a week or $1,000 a week or $10 a month or $1,000 a month, whatever it is for you, you have to start somewhere. And the best time to start is right now. We're in a bear market. You know, it looks like we're going to be here for a while. You know, Matt did the technical analysis yesterday and on Monday. So, you know, you can see from what we're seeing is that we can be here for quite a while, another 12 months, maybe 18 months, maybe less. But you know, it's an opportunity for us. And for me, I want this bear market to go on for as long as possible, because that gives me maximum opportunity to invest as much as I can while everything is down. So when the bull market comes, then I can actually have maximum returns. So that's number two is, number one is information. Number two is have your goals in place. And number three, start planning and start actioning what you have. Now, like I said, we all have the same, we all have the opportunity to live at 90% of our income. It's just a matter of changing the way we think. Then the last resource that we have, and probably the last thing I want to speak about today, is our time. Everybody, and we hear this a lot from our customers or from people who, are interested in crypto, or they want to get involved, but they always throw the one objection at me. And they say, but Wasim, I don't have the time. I don't have the time to spend this. I don't have the time to learn that. I don't have the time to set it up. I don't have the time for this. All of these are BS excuses that we're giving ourselves not to do what needs to be done. You and I and every single person on this world has one thing that we are all equal in. And that is the fact that we all have the same amount of 24 hours in a day as the richest man in the world, as well as the poorest man in the world. Whether it's Bill Gates or Warren Buffett, they have 24 hours in a day. Whether it's a homeless person living on the street, they also have 24 hours in a day. The difference between the two is what they do in that 24 hours. So yes, if you want to achieve the success that you want, and you want to get to the point that you want to get to in your life, you're going to have to sacrifice your time. You're going to have to sacrifice some Netflix. You're going to have to sacrifice some movies. You're going to have to sacrifice some leisure activity to be working on getting to where you want to go. We live in a world, unfortunately, where we are encouraged to have we're encouraged to have instant gratification. And the reality is we need to learn to have delayed gratification. That means you can have the reward down the track and not now. And the only way you're going to do that is by sacrificing short term so that you can prosper and have the rewards that you want long term. So I'm going to leave it at that. I've gone for about 20 minutes now ranting on. So the three things that I've spoken about is get the right information, have a plan, execute that plan. And when you're executing that plan, that is where you got to understand you can live at 90%, put 10% of your wages aside to put in good long-term investments, and also sacrifice some of your time to be able to manage those and learn what you need to do. If you can apply these three things in the next week or the next month, you'll be able to see massive, massive difference in your life and how you feel about yourself and how you feel about your future. I've got down here running on the screen our decryptingcrypto.com webpage. Guys, it's a free course. Jump on it, get the knowledge. We're giving you the foundational knowledge for free. If you're not going to take it for free, you're not going to pay for it. So do yourself a favor, jump on the decryptingcrypto.com, grab a copy of the course, go through it, understand what's happening in the world right now, and then when you're ready, we've got a brand new event that we're working on right now, which is going to look at the 5 megatrends in crypto that we're looking at, that we're preparing with these 5 megatrends for the bull run, and we're going to show you guys what these 5 megatrends are and how you can utilize these and take advantage of them to really change your life in the next 3 to 5 years. That's it for me, guys. See you tomorrow night at 5 p.m. for our Decrypting Crypto live stream and news, where Matt and I is going to go through the news highlights, crypto, Twitter highlights, adoption highlights for you guys tomorrow night. Love to see you guys there. And until then, have a great evening and peace out.